So now you have your corset, but you realize you need the actual penniets for the sides. Using a regular pillow, you can make pillow penniets that attach to the sides and give you the silhouette without spending your money. So you're going to find your waist. You can do this on the actual person. And you're going to give yourself about, let's call it 5 inches of overlap. And you're going to do this 3 times. You're going to mark it across the middle. Then you're going to take your other half, line it up, don't worry if they don't line up. Grosgrain is shifty, it'll move on you, so having a little uneven edge is totally fine. This size is more versatile, so I just find it easier to work with. So you get yourself 2 of these, put them back to back, and then you're going to sew the edges so that you get a really firm tape. Then, once you get your tape all done, you're going to wrap it around again and you're going to add your closures. I like using skirt hooks and bars because it gives you a flatter finish to the actual tape. Easier to hide under clothing. And they look something like this. So this is going to be matching up with this line. You want to give yourself a little bit bigger just in case that person's feeling big that day. It happens with girls often. And then you want to give yourself a large whopper popper snap to hold the excess down when you actually hook it closed. So now you have a waistband, but you need this part. What you're going to do is get yourself a regular pillow. Could be queen, could be king, doesn't really matter, you just need a pillow. Then you're going to measure from one seam to the other across the width of your pillow. So this one's about 27, so half of that is going to be 13.5. So right around there. Take a pin and mark it. You're going to go up, do the same thing, 13.5, and mark it with a pin. Line up your scissors with the pin. Take the pin out of the way and follow the line. Now you have your pillow. Take your scissors, cut through your stuffing. So now that you've got these, you set them aside and it's time to make the piece that goes over this. At least half a yard of lightweight muslin or cotton or pretty much any fabric you'd like. My guess, get the cheapest, because it really doesn't matter. You're going to find your grain lines, which usually goes with the selvage. You're going to take your pattern, line up your grain line. Mark the top and the bottom. I usually put a little T and a B, just so that I know. And then, like all things, you follow the seam allowance. So this will be a 1/2 inch. There you go, you're cut 2. I'm going to feed it into the machine. You're going to trim off your excess with pinking shears. Be very careful that you don't nick the pillow on the opposite side. You don't have to be careful with your scissors. This is basically so that if any fraying happens, it doesn't go too far. Hopefully you're not doing this on a person, but if you are, please use safety pins. And you're going to pin the pillow to the waistbanding. This is only temporary. You're building your base. To hold your pillow in place. Like so. Now, first, I would tack down all of the edges. So you have these two edges. This one goes down, this. This one goes up. If you're really pressed for time, you don't have to do the bottom one, but I like the way it looks. It gives it a nice symmetry. So, once you have that, take your needle and thread, and you would just sew it down like so. So, once you've tacked down your edges, next comes the building of the actual cage part, which is this thing. You're going to take more of your ribbon and a pair of fresh scissors and more pins. So you want 3 basic parts to your cage. You want the spine, the yoke, and then the little support yokes. 4 inches from your side seam, which is now the top part of the pillow. You're going to give yourself about 1 inch and anchor that down. You're going to take your ribbon, go all the way around, and take another pin and secure it right there to hold it in place. Come up around the bottom. Take another pin and pin in the opposite corner. Around up the back, and again, 4 inches from the back. And pin it to the waistline. Cut yourself about 1 inch. And that's your under. Next comes your side bits, your 2 stabilizing yokes. So you're going to give yourself about 1 inch, 1.5 inches, and about, let's call that 7 inches from the top. All of these measurements are subjective to change depending on what size pillow and what size person. So you're going to go around parallel to the floor. Going to do a pin at the side seam. Right back around to the back, and again, 7 inches from the top. That's where you're going to pin. Same thing goes for the bottom one. I'm going to go another 4 inches down, pin that one in place, come all the way around the spine. So again, another 1.25 inches from the top, pin it to the waistband, not your person. And everywhere there's a pin, you're going to pin. Once you get down here, you find the bottom of your yoke. You pin, and then you cut off at 1.5 inches. All right, that's your basic framework. Come to a flat surface, and everywhere there's a pin, you're going to double back. You're going to fold this in half. You're going to double back and pin it in place. Don't worry if there's a little triangle that's sticking out, that's perfectly fine. It's supposed to be like that. So again, fold it in half, fold it in half again, pin it in place. You're creating a cage. You're going to go back to this bottom edge. You're going to unpin it, but you're going to go back and mark right where you've pinned it on your pillow so that you don't forget that's where you're going to sew to. This comes off, and it leaves you free to sew these on the machine. And you're going to go and you're going to sew parallel to the outer edges of your ribbon. For these, you're going to do the same. I would move the pin to the other side so you don't hurt yourself while you're sewing. Now the next thing you're going to do is you're going to go up to the waistline. You're going to fold this back, pin it in place, as you see. We're going to do what is called a stitched box. So we're going to make a little box, and then we're going to put an X in it. I would start this way, mostly so that you get the harder part done fairly quickly. So you're squishing down the pillow. There you go, so you can see. Back stitch. Go to your pin, lift your presser foot, and pivot on your needle. Make sure your needle is down, if not you're going to lose your stitch line. Take your pin out. Once you've done your box stitches, it's time to secure all of the points. So what you're going to do is at every juncture, you're going to pin it, then we're going to tack it into place. So you're going to start the top corner, go all the way to the other corner. I'm going to do 2 big basting stitches, just so you get your first end of the square. You're going to go to the opposite corner, come back up, another 2 big basting stitches. Now, for the bottom, what we're going to do is we're going to do 1 big running stitch from 1 pin to 1 pin. So at the top of the pin, you start, you come up, back in. You want to go no more than 5/8 of an inch. You're going to come back up, you're going to go at least halfway between the 2 points. So you can come back down in between your 2 seam lines, back up, and then just a couple more basting stitches along the edge. So you get to your other pin. You can take that pin out now. 2 beautiful pillow panniers.